I knew it. I knew I was just a normal human being.
You know, I put Robert Pattinson kind of easily in the same category as Daniel Radcliffe in that they went from fantasy novel adaptation stars to just plain weird. Folks, I am not ashamed in the slightest to admit that I'm a fan of Robert Pattinson. He's one of those actors that resisted what could have easily been a gravy train of a career, portraying pretty boy sparkling vampires in the Twilight movies. But you could always tell that that was not Pattinson's bag, and he was definitely holding something back. Fast forward to today, and we see Robert Pattinson in films like Good Time, The Lighthouse, and even The Batman, just playing weird and damaged characters that don't in any way resemble Edward Cullen. The man is an icon, nay, a genius, nay, an institution. And today, we are going to take a look at his career and have Taylor break down exactly how the fuck Robert Pattinson became such an icon.
The obsessed stalker lurks around outside the lair of her favorite sparkling movie star. Her drive is strong, her mission never to cease until she wins his famous heart, fulfilling her romantic and cinematic fantasy and making everything right in the world. One day, her annoying and evasive tactics actually work, causing the movie star to accept her invitation, and off they went to a cafe or something, probably. He sat her down, looking deeply into her soul with his dreamy eyes, and proceeded to just complain about how awful his life is, basically boring her with negativity until every ounce of fangirl vanished into the cold wind, completely destroying her Hollywood fairy tale with nothing but his bizarre and brutal truth. And I guess for some, that's what it's like to watch a Robert Pattinson movie nowadays. You know, getting nothing but bizarre and brutal truth. Too many popcorn munchers had locked this man's career in a vampire-shaped coffin, assuming he would be nothing more than an undead one-hit wonder. You know, like somebody forever trapped in high school. But then we all got a sudden blast of art house realism to the face, and you know what? At first, we really didn't know what to think. But soon, it was time for all of the Bellas to fall in love all over again, or get weirded out by his acting choices, or just claim that you were #Team Jacob all along. But yeah, after a series of knockout performances in unique and original independent films over the past decade, the name Robert Pattinson does not twinkle in the sunshine with cringy teeny bop madness. No. The name Robert Pattinson now brings up images of darkness and pain and talent and risk and artistry. And oh yeah, he's the Batman too. But is he experimenting a little too much nowadays? Does this thespian have too much artistic freedom? Or is he just the finest actor of his generation? Or should we just enjoy his films and not give a f***? Because he sure doesn't. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing to watch. So yeah, what the f*** happened to Robert Pattinson?
I think he's one of the greatest actors of our generation. I think he is fantastic. He's incredible, and yeah, he's just like the sickest.
But to truly understand what the f*** happened to Robert Pattinson, we must begin at the beginning, and the beginning began when he was born on his birthday. 1986, London, England. A shy, rebellious child who was expelled from private school for selling stolen dirty magazines, this little bad boy never wanted to be an actor. He just kind of fell into it. I don't know what that means, but that's what he says. After a fantasy TV movie called Ring of the Nibelungs, young Robbie Patz pretty much started his film career on the cutting room floor, with his scenes not making it into his first movie, Vanity Fair, in 2004. Rumor has it the casting director felt so bad for not telling poor Pattinson that he was getting chopped from the film that she booked him for a Harry Potter audition just out of sympathy, surprising everyone when he was hired for the role of Cedric in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He was only 19 years old. Then came Twilight and all of its sequels. There's like 5 Twilight movies, right? And yeah, that franchise became a pop cultural juggernaut, and overnight turned Robert Pattinson into the king of the heartthrobs. Everywhere this young man went, the paparazzi did follow, and yeah, it seems annoying as f***. While on the set of Twilight, he started out as difficult to work with, often disagreeing with how to portray Edward. I know it's kind of hard to imagine, but he was going too dark and too emo, and was almost fired for it. So, in order to avoid unemployment, he changed things up a bit, and made some Hollywood compromises, resulting in a wooden performance. And I guess there's really no other way to play this character, but yeah, not impressive. And sure, yeah, these things made billions of dollars, but this resulted in overexposure. It became a little too easy to make fun of these Twilight movies. Mr. Robert Pattinson was mocked by everybody from Jimmy Fallon to, a handful of spoof movies. Due to this frustration and his overall attitude, he always made sure to let everyone know that he was not a fan of this franchise, openly criticizing the plot holes and the overall absurdity of vampires going to high school. He had no fear at those press junkets. Like a vampire biting the hand that feeds him, and then sucking all of its blood and then saying that it doesn't like the taste of the blood. But I get it, Robbie boy, you're an artist. And that's why we love you.
Did your Twilight experience turn out to be what you expected?
When I read it, it seemed like it was a book that wasn't supposed to be published.
Like, what am I doing with this kid? I'm 108 years old.
It's kind of a mixture of looking like slightly constipated and stoned.
So yeah, all of the I hate being famous drama on top of a major cheating scandal with his co-star. It was all just a little bit too much for this sensitive private man. You could tell that he hated every moment of the hellish flashing lights of fame. Trapped in a red carpet prison. But you know what? He made the absolute best of it. While caught in the Twilight saga, he was still able to express himself artistically with smaller projects that allowed him to play around a little bit more and, make art. So yeah, right after Twilight 1, he literally played a character named Art in the film How to Be, and that same year he also played one of the greatest, most eccentric artists of all time, Salvador Dali, in Little Ashes. Robert was able to squeeze himself out a mustache and performed real sex acts on himself in a very desperate, disgusting way to show everybody that he's a serious actor. Gross. You don't actually have to do it, Robert, that's why it's called acting. And yeah, then he did Remember Me, Love and Distrust, Water for Elephants, and remember, he was doing all of this in between his Twilight shooting schedule. This young man had accidentally, instantly conquered Hollywood as a movie star, so there was now nothing left to do but prove himself as an actor, an artiste. Many actors often join prestigious period pieces and work with auteur filmmakers to build their art house credentials. And Robert Pattinson did just that with Belle Amie and David Cronenberg's Cosmopolis, which Robert calls one of his favorite things he's ever done. Both of those movies were made in 2012, and that same year he finally finished with his dreaded franchise of Fangs and broke away after Breaking Dawn Part 2. Terrified of forever being typecast, Robert knew that he could not stop searching for challenging out-of-the-box roles, and that's exactly what he saw when he read the script for The Rover. He knew this character would bring him attention from a different audience. Crippled with anxiety, Pattinson needed 45 minutes to calm down for the audition. And of course, he absolutely nailed it. And his subtle, yet gritty performance helped bring this film to Cannes. This was followed by yet another wave of Kino, with films like another Cronenberg flick, Maps to the Stars, a James Dean flick called Life, playing Lawrence of Arabia in Werner Herzog's Queen of the Desert, and appearing in The Childhood of a Leader, the debut film of the brutalist director, then stealing scenes with his intensity and his beard in a supporting role in The Lost City of Z. You see, screen time or box office didn't seem to matter to Robert. He would rather inhabit a complex, troubled character and work with directors he respects. He risked it all and totally could have done an endless assembly line of mindless schlock, but he didn't. And when Pattinson finally joined the world of blockbusters and superheroes, he made sure that visionary directors like Christopher Nolan and Matt Reeves were behind them. We'll get to those in a bit. But in my humble opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, it was the film Good Time that secured Pattinson's artistic legacy, finally taking the lead in this Safdie brothers' tense, incredible picture, which allowed him to improvise throughout the entire film. Just playing with his real fears, his real instincts. And you know what? It totally worked. And you know what? I always believed in him, but I never expected this level of skills. Good Time erased all memories and shined a glorious independent light on the shadow that was Twilight, replacing his beautiful sparkles with beautiful chaos that only the best cinema can give. He then went on to do more interesting films: Damsel, High Life, Waiting for Barbarians, The Devil All the Time, and a chilling turn in The King. These were all solid additions to his unconventional yet fascinating filmography. But it was his Good Time performance that made director Matt Reeves pick the Patman to be the Batman. But before he could become the Dark Knight and battle the Penguin, Catwoman, and the Riddler, he had to light up the Dark Knights and battle a seagull, a mermaid, and a guy who should have played the Joker, or the Riddler, or any Batman bad guy, in Robert Eggers' masterpiece of madness, The Lighthouse. Critics were absolutely mesmerized by the hypnotic, fearless performances and the surreal atmosphere that Robert and Willem Dafoe fit perfectly in. Watching these two dance around and fart and yell at each other as they slowly slip into insanity is why God created actors. The experiment was finally really starting to pay off for Pattinson, as this was pretty much the rebranding of the century. He was free. He could do anything he wanted, and quite possibly save the world of artsy-fartsy cinema in the process. So yeah, after doing his thing in Christopher Nolan's Tenet, we thought this master actor could not surprise us anymore. So then he went and did the one thing that nobody thought he would ever do: take on the superhero genre. For many of us, our first reaction upon hearing the news of Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne was, insulting. But there were still plenty of uneducated buffoons who had somehow missed the resurrection and the renaissance of Robert. So whenever I heard anybody complain about the Twilight guy playing the new Batman, well, I saw it as an opportunity to introduce them to his post-Twilight work, which helped ease their doubt that he would, ruin their already ruined childhood. The Batman was unlike any superhero movie we had seen in a long time. Truly refreshing, truly disturbing in the best way possible, and it grossed over $770 million. He did the impossible again and returned to superstar blockbuster status, but this time, he did it via his skills and his dedication to the craft. Not just his pretty face and his pretty sparkles. Sure, it may have been a bit emo, but the pain in his eyes was undeniable, and it helped elevate this character to a place that we never knew it could go. I mean, who knew Batman needed a Kurt Cobain vibe, right? But somehow Robert knew. He only wants to play tragic, dark, weird freaks, and yeah, Batman is the darkest, weirdest, most tragic freak out there. And his bad voice, it wasn't distracting this time. And yeah, his voice, that's where Pattinson shines. All those accents he tries to do, the man can control his vocal cords like a master, bringing us the most exciting and unusual voices. Example, the English dub of The Boy and the Heron. I don't know what he's doing here, but it's wonderful.
Save me, my dog!
What exactly are you?
Your mother. She's awaiting your rescue. I'll be your guide.
Pattinson continued to push the boundaries of his voice by making a very interesting choice in Bong Joon-ho's most recent film, Mickey 17. And yeah, even though my cousin says it's a little weird, Pattinson and Bong Joon-ho, it does seem like a fitting partnership that I hope leads to other thought-provoking projects. But yeah, the large budget, the mediocre reviews, and the lazy, on-the-nose political satire that just seems to fall flat is causing many people to consider Mickey 17 as a flop. A floppity flop just flopping all around. But does this mean that the glory days of Mr. Pattinson are over? No effing way. And you know what that F stands for? It stands for
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
I'm sure this film will be more appreciated as time goes by. Maybe it's ahead of its time, I don't know, I hope so. But yeah, no matter what, I am absolutely sure that Pattinson doesn't give a f***, and he is hard at work on his next transformation. He's teaming up with Christopher Nolan again for his take on the Odyssey, a The Batman sequel is on the way, and much more to look forward to from Robert Pattinson. His career is a testament to reinvention and rebellion. He defied the industry and took his own independent path to freedom, balancing art house credibility with mainstream appeal, constantly being reborn as an artist like that Mickey 17. So yeah, nobody should give a f*** about what the f*** happened to Robert Pattinson because he's doing just fine.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.